Epstein client list, Mossad blackmail list, says this man on Twitter. Jeffrey Epstein owned this picture. What did it mean? Now, chat, I have a little theory lut, and I don't think I'm the first one to come up with this theory lut at all, by any stretch of the imagination. You know that picture of Bill Clinton wearing a dress in the Oval Office? That I don't know if Epstein owned that one as well, but I think it was on Epstein Island, or what a copy of it was on Epstein Island. And you've got here Bill Gates with the two paper planes with the Jenga tower, the two Jenga towers. My theory is that these pictures, and again, probably not an original theory, but here's the theory anyway, these pictures are reminders of the blackmail that Mossad and or Epstein had over these presidents. Yeah, if I didn't say that, Odar, no, sorry, I meant Bush. That for some reason, like maybe Bill was not just dressed in a dress, but did something really weird in it. And that Bush actually did have some involvement in 9/11 or knew full well it was going to happen. And that this is the source of blackmail against him. And that maybe everything he did after 9/11 was informed by leverage on him by Mossad or whoever else. It could also just be that they were just like dumb pictures someone painted. Who knows? Yeah, so sussy. Let's put it that way. And it's long been suspected that Bush was involved. It's plausible that he wasn't. And the thing is, I always thought that so Wes has this theory that when you look at Bush being informed of 9/11 happening, the look on his face is like terror. And I can't remember. We did talk about this. I had a response because I thought it was something else. Like the Wes thought that therefore, because it was terror, genuine terror, it's hard to fake, that it must be real. I think that's still, even aside from being a good actor, there are still ways to fake that. It could be take 1600 that wasn't live, but was purported to be live in front of school kids, yes, but they were just asked to play around, while these two men did this take, take 87, where he actually looked convincing. That's possible. And I had another theory. I can't remember what I said now, but the face looked like something else. It may have been that I said that it looked like, oh shit, it's too soon, it's too early. Or there's also the possibility that, oh shit, the attack that we knew about, because they didn't know about the threat of the attack, they just didn't consider it credible, the Pentagon or the CIA or someone. It actually happened, that's the face that he had on. I can't remember, something like that. But I don't know. I don't have a conclusion on that. It's plausible that he wasn't involved, but I suspect that someone was. And the whole thing about the guy that took out the huge insurance on the building just before it was taken down and happened to not be there on that day, bruh, that's sus. And then the passports being found. I don't know if that story is true, by the way, but if it is, that's also very sus. And then the fact that the war attacked the wrong fucking people, that's even more sus. So it's similar to COVID, right? COVID might have been initiated with some involvement deliberately from the US to do the things that it was used to do. We know that the US was involved in the building where it very likely leaked from. I think now it's confirmed it leaked from there, but we knew it a few months after the COVID things started. The US was involved in funding that facility, but we don't know if they were involved in releasing it. And still, my best theory on that is that China released it by accident because they're incompetent, and then covered it up deliberately so that everyone else would suffer the same as China did. But maybe the US was involved in deliberately releasing it. Maybe the US released it to look like an accident and didn't tell China, then China deliberately covered it up, and then it spread. But what you can definitely say, even if the US were not involved in releasing it, the US Democrats wanted it to spread. Because they did everything they could. They did exactly what you would expect to be done to achieve maximum casualties, maximum damage, maximum fear. In the first few months of the spread, they said, no, it's fine. Look, here we are in Chinatown, rubbing faces with Chinamen. You should do it as well. While the Republicans were saying, no, this is looking kind of dangerous. Actually, maybe we should, recline a bit and be careful and wash your hands and all this stuff. They weren't recommending, most Republicans, the most right wingers weren't recommending lockdowns at that point. I don't think that came a bit later. And the Democrats were saying, no, it's fine. And then a couple months later, when the worst of the virus was past, Republicans were saying, okay, at this point we can start to relax a bit more. Democrats were saying, it's time for lockdowns, everyone lock down, and all this, and everything else. They did all the tracking, all the tests, all this stuff, and it just got worse from there. That is exactly the pattern you would expect of people that were taking advantage of crisis and trying to make it as bad as possible, and then using it for political power. So that mirrors 9/11. The US might have been responsible for the let's just say the establishment, because it's not just the US, and it's specifically Democrats and unipartyists in this case. The establishment may have been responsible for creating the COVID-19 pandemic initially, but they were certainly responsible for utilizing it to their own ends. And so it's not, you can't infer directly whether they were responsible for creating it, but they've still done wrong using it. 9/11, I think, is exactly the same pattern. The US establishment at the time, George Bush in particular, utilized the 9/11 attack. And maybe he initiated it, maybe he helped planning it and anything like that, but it isn't necessary that he did for him to have done something wrong by utilizing it as he did. By utilizing it to implement more extremist, more restrictive legislation, and then to invade the wrong fucking country. Spooner says, one damning piece of evidence for shittery is that a few news broadcasts reported on World Trade Center 7 collapsing while it was still standing, including a BBC live broadcast where you can see World Trade Center 7. Sorry, I haven't seen that, actually. I didn't know about that. I did at one point look into Building 7, and there was a plausible answer given for how it could have collapsed. And that's the problem. A lot of these claims about 9/11, there is a plausible response. But the whole question of major skyscraper collapses, it's pretty rare. It's almost never happened. So we don't have much basis to claim that it's wrong or not. We can only really say it's plausible that it was all real as seen. But yeah, I don't know about that. I don't have a strong opinion on whether 9/11 was deliberate, manufactured, or whatever, but it was utilized. Same as COVID.